Greetings, fellow Whovians. Well, let's continue on with our look at the Second Doctor's adventures with the Tomb of the Cybermen. Sorry. On the planet Telos, an archaeological expedition uncovers a hidden entrance in a mountain. The TARDIS lands nearby, and the expedition is joined by the Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria. Perry, the expedition's leader, explains that they are here to find the remains of the Cybermen, who apparently died out 5 centuries before. The expedition is funded by Captain, who is accompanied by her giant manservant Cybermen and her colleague Klieg. One of the men is electrocuted opening the doors, but the party manages to enter the chamber. They find a control panel and a large sealed hatch. Perry and Klieg try to open it as Cybermen slips out. The remaining members of the expedition begin to explore. Victoria and Captain come across the chamber with a sarcophagus-like wall instead facing a projection device that was apparently used to revitalize the Cybermen. She curiously climbs inside, and Captain secretly seals her in the sarcophagus and tries to activate the projector pointing at the sarcophagus, but the Doctor frees her, suspecting Captain's blame. Meanwhile, Hayden and Jamie have been experimenting with a control panel in another room. A Cyberman slides into view when a gun fires, killing Hayden. However, the Doctor figures out that it is not a real Cyberman, but a testing range for weapons. Dun dun dun. Outside, Cyberman reports to Captain that it is done. Captain Hopper, the expedition's pilot, returns and angrily reveals that someone has sabotaged the rocket ship. They cannot leave until repairs are made. They finally open the hatch, and the men descend, leaving Captain and Victoria behind. They find a vast chamber beneath, with a multi-story structure containing cells of frozen Cybermen. Back in the control room, Captain drugs Victoria and reseals the hatch. Inside it, Klieg activates more controls in the tomb and the ice begins to melt. When Viner tries to stop him, Klieg shoots him dead and holds the rest at bay as the Cybermen return to life. Klieg reveals that he and Captain belong to the Brotherhood of Logicians, who possess great intelligence but no physical power. He believes the Cybermen will be grateful for their revival and will ally themselves with him. Yeah, good luck with that. Victoria awakens and confronts Captain, who threatens to shoot her if she tries opening the hatch. A small mechanical Cyberman revives and attacks Captain, rendering her unconscious. Victoria grabs Captain's pistol and shoots the Cyberman. Not knowing whichever opens the hatch, she leaves to find Hopper. Down in the tombs, the Cybermen free their leader, the Cyber Controller, from his cell. When Klieg steps forward to take the credit for reviving them, the Cyber Controller grabs and crushes him, declaring, "You belong to us. You shall be like us." The Doctor realizes the tombs were an elaborate trap. The Cybermen were waiting for beings intelligent enough to decipher the controls to free them. The expedition will be converted into Cybermen in preparation for a new invasion of Earth. Dun dun dun. In the control room, Captain Hopper and Callum have figured out how to open the hatch. Hopper descends into the tombs and uses smoke grenades to distract the Cybermen while the humans make their escape. But Cyberman, who has his arms cybernetically converted. Well, that's not good. Klieg and Captain are moved into the testing range to keep them out of mischief while the others decide on their next course of action. Klieg extricates the weapon from the wall, an X-ray laser he calls a cybergun, to coerce the Cybermen to do their bidding. The Cybermen release a group of Cybermans into the main chamber, and they attack the Doctor, Jamie, Victoria, and the expedition members, but the Doctor saves them. Klieg and Captain step out, and Klieg fires the laser in the direction of the Doctor. He misses, wounding Callum. He opens the hatch and calls for the Cyber Controller. The latter climbs up, accompanied by Cyberman, who has been partially cyber-converted and is under the Cyber Controller's control. The controller moves slowly, as his energy is running low. Most of the Cybermen have been ordered back to their tombs to conserve power. Klieg says he will allow the Cyber Controller to be revitalized if the Cybermen help him conquer Earth, and agrees. The Doctor helps the controller into the sarcophagus in an attempt to trap it there, but the revitalized controller is too strong and breaks free. Cyberman knocks Klieg unconscious. The controller picks up Klieg's cybergun. Captain shoots it, but the normal gun has no effect and she is shot by the controller. The death of Captain and the urging of the Doctor to shake Cyberman out of his controlled state. He struggles with the controller and hurls it into the control panel, apparently killing it. The Doctor, wanting to make sure the Cybermen are no longer a threat, goes back down into the tombs of Cybermen. Klieg regains consciousness and sneaks down with the cybergun and revives the Cybermen once again. Klieg expects to control them now that the controller is dead. The revived Cyberman startles Klieg from behind and kills him. Cyberman fights and kills this Cyberman by tearing open his breathing apparatus. The Doctor and Jamie refreeze the others in their cells. Hopper's crew have repaired the ship, and the Doctor rewires the controls to the station so they can't be used. He then sets up a circuit to electrify the doors again, along with the control panels in the hatch. The controller, still alive, lurches for them. Everyone tries to shut the outer doors using insulating poles, but the controller is too strong. Doberman comes forward, pushes the others aside, and uses his bare hands to shut the doors. He succeeds, completing the circuit, and both he and the controller are electrocuted. The Doctor and his companions say goodbye to the expedition members who return to their rocket, leaving the Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria at the tomb. As they prepare to leave, Jamie asks if they've seen the last of Cybermen. The Doctor replies that, "I never like to make predictions." As they leave the scene, they fail to see a lone Cyberman, having survived, approaching Doberman's cybernetic corpse. Yeesh, this is kind of a dark story, with some death and stuff everywhere, and Cybermen in tombs. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Anyway, let's look at some continuity and production elements of the story. The Doctor returns to Telos in the Sixth Doctor serial Attack of the Cybermen, where he also encounters the Cryons, the original inhabitants of the planet. The story contains a rare reference to the Doctor's family. But when Victoria doubts he can remember his family because of being so ancient, the Doctor says that he can when he really wants to, and the rest of the time he's sleeping in my mind because he has so much to think about, to remember. The Doctor also mentions here that he is about 450 years old. Episode 3 refers to the two previous encounters between the Doctor and the Cybermen. The Cybermen note that the first Doctor destroyed their home planet of Mondas in the 10th planet. The second Doctor subsequently surmises that this was what led to their attack on the titular moon base in their more recent meeting. 11th Doctor actor Matt Smith stated that it was watching the serial that inspired his own costume as the Doctor. Neat. Peter Bryant, who had previously been assistant to Jerry Davis and been newly promoted to script editor on the preceding story, was allowed to produce this serial in order to prove that he could take over from Ince Lloyd as producer later on in the season. Bryant's own assistant, Victor Pemberton, acted as script editor on the serial, but left the series after production of the serial was finished, deciding that he didn't want to be a script editor. When Bryant's eventual promotion to producer came, Derek Shuren would become script editor. The working titles for this story were The Ice Tombs of Telos and The Cybermen Planet. Doberman was originally intended to be deaf, hence his lack of significant speech. His hearing aid would foreshadow his transformation into a Cyberman. The Cybermen were controlled by various means, some by wires, some by wind-up clockwork, some by radio control, and some by simply being shoved into the shot. When the team were not filming, it was known for the people controlling the radio-controlled Cybermen to chase Deborah waddling around the set. The scene of the Cybermen breaking out of their tombs was filmed entirely in one take. And nice. In the scene where the group are at the main entrance of the tomb, Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines worked out in secret, whether the knowledge of director Morris Barry. The brief sequence where the Doctor and Jamie go to take Victoria by the hand and end up taking each other's, and the knowledge that, with the recording schedule and the likelihood that retake's not be possible, it would have to be left in. So yeah, a pretty interesting story overall, and one that's is regarded a lot by fans as the most popular story of the Troughton era. I give The Tomb of the Cybermen 5 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, join me next week as we meet the Abominable Snowman. So, until then, this is Hoovy and Queen saying, "Oh my Gideons! When I say run, run! I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow. Would you like a jelly baby? Fantastic! Allons-y! Geronimo!" Bow ties are cool, fezzes are cool, and Stetsons are cool.